NBC nails it. Ryan Blaney back in championship form. Sam Mayer is pissed. And Iowa Speedway, a new fan favorite. That and much more.
3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Thanks for dropping by for this pit stop segment. Iowa, what a weekend of racing out there. We're going to talk about so much with this, from the broadcast to the whole entire weekend of racing, because, man, I was impressed. Very impressed, and definitely want to get into all these subjects. Today's my birthday, so I'm very happy to be here with you another year to talk racing, and hopefully got plenty more of these years to come to do the same. But, I want to start out right here with the broadcast with NBC this weekend. Obviously, the first race coverage for the season, and, man, they did not disappoint in any way. It really felt like a great summer race all the way through, like you were almost there even at home watching it, with all the coverage that took place there. And this is not to put down Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, or Kevin Harvick over there in any way with their broadcast, but this one just felt complete as a production all the way across the board. Very cool coverage, and the post-race interviews, something that I've been missing personally. I've actually commented on that. There's different drivers I want to be able to hear from this year that haven't been able to hear from post-race, but this year, or this season here for NBC, obviously taking care of that in so many ways, talking to so many different drivers, just getting to hear everybody's influence on the race, and the track was great. I mean, they talked to so many people. I was waiting for them to talk to the transporter drivers about how their view was driving into the racetrack coming across the country, but just great coverage by them. And the hat dance, I mean, when do you get to see the hat dance by the winner anymore? So that was really cool to see all this, and hopefully NBC will keep this up the rest of the season, and we get some more great coverage going forward. But let's talk about this racetrack right now. I mean, come on, this was a track that there was a lot of questions about. A lot of people worried about the tire wear right here going into this weekend after the repave. And obviously there was some issues with things like this, but man, I got to say, this was some great racing. 3-wide racing, just action all over the racetrack all weekend long through the ARCA, Xfinity, and the Cup race. And, Cup cars able to adjust a lot better, it seemed like, for the race, to not have as many tire issues as was expected. But still, just a great race. 7/8 mile racetrack here, and man, it's really cool to see this action out there. Me personally, just watching it, I felt like I was watching Charlotte Motor Speedway from turn 1 all the way through turn 4, and then it just had that Richmond feel all the way down the front stretch. So it gave me a couple different vibes, even though it's one 7/8 mile racetrack. So I really hope this track stays on the schedule, and would really, really like to see this race be part of the playoff format, because I think it deserves it. It showed up. And what about them fans? I mean, sold out crowd, fans all over the place there to enjoy this. And it's really good for the racing fans across the country to get to see something like this on TV and also in person. And just, man, again, great racing. And I personally, one of the drivers following it said they wish they would get out there and repave it tomorrow, at least the corners. And I agree 100%. I would love to see this, at least the corners completely repaved. No telling what kind of racing groove we would have then, especially letting that racetrack sit over the winter, let it weather, let it age a little bit, and get some more racing out there in the meantime to grind that track up a little bit more, because, man, I just tell you, I think it would be a great added track to the schedule for years to come. And a big part of me, I was thinking that maybe this was just a placeholder for another track, maybe for something in Southern California or something like that. But, oh, man, I hope they put this one on the schedule for a long time. And like I say, get them corners paved at least, because great action out there. And once again, the fans coming out there, obviously Ryan Blaney having a big fan base and family out there this weekend. 80 people coming to see him, and how deserving for him to get that win. And especially just a couple weeks after Gateway, had that win in the bag, ran out of fuel. But luckily, no problems this weekend for him, and just dominated the race. A great race for him, and a great race for Penske. Great race, again, for Ford. This is something that wasn't that long ago. Everybody was talking about Ford needed to step up. There was problems, worries about when they were going to get a win. And now, man, they're in there. They're making it happen. Just a couple weeks ago, Austin Cindric in that 2-car in the victory lane. This week, out there with Ryan Blaney in that 12. And then the All-Star race, not that long ago there with Joey Logano getting the win there. So Penske definitely stepping it up in Ford. And loving the manufacturers battle. All these different manufacturers up there in the mix. And I just think that's great for the sport. Great for every manufacturer. And it's going to be cool to see how this year continues as far as that manufacturers battle itself. Now, a lot of action with a lot of different drivers out there. Obviously, Kyle Larson, one of the big stories this weekend with what happened to him. And let's take a look at this right here. You can see him coming in there, getting in the middle. And it was kind of reminiscent to me of what happened between Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch at the All-Star race. But, Daniel saying he put that car up there in the middle, meaning Kyle Larson. And there was 2 sides to it and everything else. And when I watched the replay of the in-car, you can hear that Daniel's throttled up right there. And let's take a little listen to this. So you can hear Daniel getting to that gas right there. About the time he got a little bit squirrely. So definitely a situation I don't think he planned to be in right there like that. But racing situations, and that's what I love about racing like this, is you do have a lot of action, especially with this 3-wide racing. Now, we also got to talk about Josh Berry. Josh getting out there, leading laps, and rising up through the ladder right now as a name who's going to get a good ride, especially with Rodney Childers going to be part of this package. No doubt that's going to happen. And I think that's an added benefit to basically any team out there right now who is looking for a new driver, whether that be Joe Gibbs Racing or 2311 or Front Row. I mean, there's just so many different ideas, options that could happen right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's kind of a bidding war to see who gets this package duo right here, because I think it's probably going to happen. And Ricky Stenhouse, great run for him. Obviously, some wins there previously in other series, and did not disappoint for that JTG Doherty team out there. And a strong run for them. And Christopher Bell, this guy right here, again, good runs. He's strong this year. Is a leading candidate out there in that Toyota camp for no doubt. That's just been a good run for him, overcoming a lot to come home with a good finish this weekend. And, I've got to say personally right now, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and Ryan Blaney, to me, have to be the top 3 favorites to make it to the Final Four in the playoffs right now. And the other name I have to add in there is going to be William Byron in that 24 car. I just see these 4 right now as being the top guys in the series, and it would not surprise me one bit to see them be the 4 racing for the championship for the 2024 season. Now we got to talk about some of the guys that just, again, not having the best of luck, and obviously Kyle Busch is the top name up there right now. We've been talking about this. He's been having a lot of issues here lately, a lot of things on the racetrack. This weekend, mechanical issues taking him out, and it's plummeting him down in the points situation right now. A lot of talk about the only way he's going to get into the playoffs right now is with a win, and unfortunately for him right now, hasn't had the luck to get him a win. But again, top 10 runs that are just falling apart there at the end. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can continue that win streak, because this would be something right here, if he doesn't win, would end that win streak that he's had going. I can't remember how many years now, but for a lot of years. And it'd be sad to see that, but obviously a lot of work these guys got to do to get that car back up into performance mode. And this brings me to another guy who's right there on that bubble, and that's Joey Logano. Joey obviously having better luck right now, but when you look at it, the other 2 Penske guys now having wins in those Fords. And Joey, no doubt, doesn't need a win to get into this championship battle, but obviously wants that win, because you don't want the other 2 guys winning and you being the odd man out, having to point your way in. So, again, just interesting to follow this story right here to see who's going to make it in, if they can get in on wins or if they're going to have to eventually point their way into it. Because, I mean, you look at it, you got Ty Gibbs and Bubba Wallace up there in the points battle right now to make it to the playoffs. Expect Joey Logano and Kyle Busch to be there. So interesting things to follow with this throughout the rest of the season. Now, I want to talk about the Xfinity race here for a little bit. This is obviously somewhere would have had a little more tire issues, 6 different tire cautions for tires blowing out. And again, luckily, that didn't happen and carry over as much into the Cup race. But it did for the Xfinity, had 9 cautions for a total of 71 laps, which was pretty mind-blowing to me. But a great race there with Sam Mayer and Riley Herbst. And Riley, obviously getting a little upset at the end, going up there and running into the side of that one car and dropping a tire. But Sam didn't care. Sam got up there and did his Super Sam pose up on top of the car. And just continuing with his winning ways right now. And this is something that's really interesting to me right now. Following the win, Sam Mayer said he was pissed. And not because of the racing action so much, but because he's not being considered for the NASCAR Cup Series.
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic. There's a handful of drivers in the Xfinity and Truck Series who are kind of mentioned as the next prospects, coming up, and they're going to be stars in the Cup Series. Your name isn't always put in that group, but as Chris said, you've got the stats to back that up. Do you feel like you should get maybe some more shine and some opportunities maybe come your way?
Yeah, it kind of pisses me off, to be honest with you. I feel like we've proved ourselves a lot more. Like, I'm dead serious. It makes me so mad that my name isn't in more hats for race teams. So
Sam having some issues with that he's not one of the names in the hat to be considered for a Cup ride right now. And Sam does. It's his 2nd win of the year. That's his 6th win in the last 29 races. So definitely doing really good on the Xfinity side right there. But I'm going to say that I kind of think maybe he does need to sit where he's at right now. We see so many of these young drivers like this, eager to get to the Cup Series. And then once they get there, the luck kind of doesn't fall in their favor as much. So I would tell Sam, sit where you're at for another year or so. And let's just see what happens, because you're doing great where you're at. And you're going to contend for championships right here. And maybe get that championship in Xfinity Series, and then start looking more at that Cup ride with a little more experience. So, again, interesting stories to follow. Will Riley Herbst go up to the Cup Series? Will Sam be considered for something? I mean, we still have a lot of options and a lot of time right now to fill these seats in the Cup Series. So, something really cool to follow for the rest of the season. Now, also, news this week at Chicago. They're doing street closures there, getting ready for the race, and a lot of people not happy about this as the closures take place. NASCAR saying this year it's not going to take quite as long to get everything taken care of. People around there happy about that, but many still unhappy about that. But really cool to see this taking place right now, anticipating that July 7th race. And man, going to be interesting to see how this plays out this year there. I do think SVG has got to be, once again, the favorite for this race, but a lot of other guys who are really powerful got that year under their belt to race there at Chicago. So another interesting story that we're going to follow. But yeah, how do you feel about that Iowa race? Do you think this is something that needs to be part of the schedule? Like I say, me personally, I'd love to see them get out there, get some new pavement on that, at least in the turns. Actually, that's what I'd like to see. Just pave the turns completely. And we could see some 4, possibly 5 wide racing on this racetrack right there. And it's been good. It's been good racing. Gateway was good racing, so I'm really glad to see these tracks on the schedule right now. It's been a much-needed boost for these short tracks, and man, I love this action, and I really, really hope that NASCAR continues to run there. I think, to me, that would be more of a priority than going to Mexico. That's just me. But once again, how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts about this? What do you think about Sam Mayer being pissed that he's not being considered for a Cup ride? A little early? Should he take another year? Let's talk about all of this and talk about everything we've covered here today. Ryan Blaney, that win. Pretty damn cool right there. Looks like he's back in championship form. So we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But anyways, hope everybody out there is off to a great week right now. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button down there. Give this episode a like. And, man, let's just talk racing, because it's what I'm here for. It's what I love to do. Once again, hope you're having a great day. And as always, we'll see you at the checker flag.